Hello guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to explain to you how an Angular application gets loaded and started. And as you might have noticed, I created a brand new project and I gave the name Angular Learning. And in the terminal you can actually notice that it is written compile successfully because I actually run this project, or this project is running. And in the last tutorial I told you how to run a project just by typing the command ngserve. And when you type ngserve, you actually serve your application on a local server which is called localhost. And if you check in the browser, you're going to see that we have a completely blank project, a completely blank page, because this is a new project. And here in the title, you're going to see the name of the project we gave, Angular Learning. And here you're going to see the localhost 4200, which is the default port on which this application is being served. So let us actually type something so that we can have something here in our page. So we're going to go into the app.component.html and let us have an h1 tag and type this is a test. And once you type this is a test, if you check the terminal, you're going to see that it has been compiled successfully. Make sure that your ngserve for your application is running, because after typing, my editor actually saves automatically, and that's how I configured. So if you want that your editor after typing it should save automatically, you can come here under file. Under file, you're going to see autosave. So this autosave functionality allows you to save your file automatically when you finish typing. So let us check in the browser. Okay, so if you check in the browser, you're going to see that this is a test. So let us type another thing. Let us type this. This is an example from the lecturer Monty Wilfred. This is my name. And you will notice that it will save automatically, and if there is no error in the terminal, you're going to see compiled successfully. And if you check in the browser, you're going to see that it is being served. But the question we have to ask here is, how does the browser or the server hosting the application knows that it should render this content? How does it know? How does it know that it should render this content coming from app.component.html? Because the file that is being rendered is not this app.component.html, but instead the file that is being rendered is the index.html. This is the file that is being served, because you can see this is our normal head, body, and here you can see we have the title Angular Learning, and here we have our body. And as I told you in the last tutorial, Angular is actually a framework which allows you to build single page applications. So basically, we only have one HTML file that is being rendered. We only have one HTML, that is the index.html. And here you can have the HTML. Here you can have the normal HTML syntax. And as you can notice, here you have the app root. So as we can notice, you're going to notice the app root here at this level in the body. And this app root is not a default HTML element, but this is a component. And this component is actually installed by the command line interface. So the command line interface will actually created what we have here in the app folder. In the app folder will actually contain the whole of the projects we're going to create. And here you're going to have some default, you're going to have the component, because this is a component and those are the files attached to this component. And if we go into the app.component.typescript, we're going to see a decorator. So this is a component decorator, and here you're going to see the selector, and the selector which holds a value app root, which is actually a string. So you can see the selector which holds the app root. And what we can notice in the index.html, you're going to see the selector. So this make a reference to the component, So notice we have, those are the files belonging to the component, to the app component, which is our root component. And this, if you go into the app.component.typescript, you're going to see the selector, the app root. So when Angular sees this app root component, it knows that you actually reference to this component. So that means when Angular actually sees this app root, this selector, it actually replaces the content of this body with what is found in the app component here. So it actually found the template, the app component.html, and actually renders what we have here into the template, because this is the template, the app template. And if we go into the browser, you're going to see that it has been rendered what is found in the app template. But let's go into the browser and try to inspect this page. So if you inspect this page, you're going to see that there are some scripts that is being loaded here in the background. The source, the runtime JS, you're going to see the polyfills, you're going to see the type JS, the vendor, and you're going to see some files here, the main JS. So what happens actually at the background? How is this application being loaded and quick started? So if we go into our code, so let's inspect what is found in this main.typescript. So in the main.typescript, you're going to notice that we have a platform browser and a bootstrap application. So this is actually quick started by the application is being bootstrapped, and then here the app module is passed as a parameter. So you can notice that here you actually have the app module, and here the app module has been imported. And notice that here you have this file, the app module.typescript. So this application is being bootstrapped and passed as an app as a parameter or as an argument, the app module, to this bootstrap module function. And if you check the app module, you're going to see that you have this bootstrap and it reads the app component, this component, the app component. It actually reads the content of this app component. And you can see that in this declaration, we have the app component that has been registered here. But basically what is in this bootstrap, it reads the content of this app component. And what do we have into this app component? If you go into the app.typescript, if you go into the app.component.typescript, it reads the component and searches for the selector. So once it finds the selector here and checks the app roots, then it will completely run what is found in this app.html and renders it into the browser. And that is what we have into the browser. So let's close this, and this the content that we have into the browser. So basically that is how it actually works behind the scene. So behind the scene, as we said, Angular is a single page application, and we have here one index.html file, and in the body we have the app roots. So basically what is actually done, the main.typescript component, we have this main.typescript into this file, we have the application that is actually bootstrapped, and here the app module is passed as a parameter. And in the app module, you have the app component, which is the root component of this application. And notice that in this app folder, you're going to find all our projects, and or all the components we're going to create later will be found in this app folder. But basically here you can see in the bootstrap, in the app component, that this app component is actually being read. And if you go into the app.typescript, you're going to see that once it finds its selector, the app root selector, then it will render what it has into the template. It renders the content of this template. So guys, basically that is the logic. Basically that is how Angular works behind the scenes. So there are so many things that happens behind the scene, and that is basically the process how Angular loads and starts the application. So guys, thank you for listening to this tutorial course, and stay tuned. In the next tutorial we are going to learn how to create a component, and we're going to see in more details how this actually works. So thank you. Goodbye.